Hi, this is Joe Rossi for the Rossi Report. Today we'll be taking a tour of the current construction stage of the new Marshfield High School. We're hoping to take quarterly tours for you, the residents of Marshfield, to see the progress of the biggest building project Marshfield has ever seen. Behind me is what they call a mock-up. A mock-up will show you an example of what the building will look like when it's finished. So let's go. I'm here today with Tony Pina, and he's going to be taking us for a tour of the new Marshfield High School. Tony, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I look forward to taking the tour today, and give us an idea of some of the stuff that we'll see on the tour.
Well, we'll drive down on site. You'll see some concrete footings being poured. You'll see what footing and foundation wall we already have accomplished in Zone B and Zone C. You'll see the preliminary grading of the track, the new track. You'll see the preliminary grading of the new football field. You'll see some site drainage and really good progress on the concession stand, which is due to have the slab poured at the beginning of next week and concrete block going up right after that.
Great. All right, and so let's go. We started our tour at the main gate and worked our way back to where most of the footing work had been done at the time, which was back around the courtyard area of the building. At this point in the construction phase, when we took our tour, most of what we saw was site preparation, drainage construction, and dirt removal, along with a lot of footings being poured.
All the way to here.
Okay, so this is the we're standing
kind of in the courtyard.
Okay.
We'll continue, over to the edge of the cars and come back.
Okay.
The far corner of the building is over here. Where there's guys.
At this point, we were standing in what will be the courtyard of the building.
Little mechanical room. Extends all the way out to the other side of where that machine is. That would be the auditorium.
Auditorium would be right there.
All the way to the
So being poured there would be the far wall then, right, to the end of the side.
That's just the foot. Down the wall.
Yeah.
Being built up.
while we were on the tour, we were lucky enough to see a footing being poured.
Whenever they do it.
As Tony took us around the site, he was pointing out things such as the football field where we are driving at this moment will be. It looked like big plains of dirt. However, site prep had already happened and construction was ready next. Stadium all set before the rest of the project.
The stadium the stadium and concession stand delivery is phase 1.
It is, okay.
So this piece from here over there and the track,
yep,
we'll get back first.
Okay.
Summer of 2030.
Here,
This is just site drain. This is where the parking lot will be. So
okay.
Under that.
Hi, I'm Joe Rossi for the Rossi Report. I'm here again with Tony Pina, who's been so nice as to take us around the Marshfield High School site and as we take our quarterly updates. Tony, what are some of the things that we'll be seeing today on our tour?
We actually have a pretty exciting visit today. The moment we've all been waiting for, which is a steel erection. You're going to see the main classroom buildings in Zone C fully erected. You're also going to see a lot of behind-the-scenes underground utilities that have been installed. You'll see the beginnings of a really great football stadium and a pretty well-developed athletic track that is binder and goalposts.
Awesome. All right, well, let's begin the tour.
So into the courtyard section, the block of classrooms are all 3-story.
We were amazed by the progress we saw just within a month and a half after our first visit. Steel erection had already begun, and footings were almost done being poured. We were lucky enough to be on site as some steel was being erected. Here, some of the steel for the 3rd floor is being swung into place. I'm Joe Rossi here on the Rossi Report, and we're here with Tony Pina taking another site visit with some significant progress at the Marshfield High School site. Tony, how are you?
Doing good today.
Good, good. Now, as we were driving in, you were mentioning about where we are on the site, and so as we look over here, there's what exactly are we basically standing in right now?
Over here to the side is going to be the future library. Over in the corner near the portage on is the main entrance and the curved conference room. Just on the other side of those steel beams is the beginning of the courtyard, so you can see the perimeter of it.
So the basically, so basically the framing that's going up now of steel is the perimeter, the classrooms along the perimeter of the courtyard.
The classroom blocks, 3-story.
And also, as we're standing here, we're actually on a berm that goes over a bigger block of, as you said before, going into the courtyard. And this again is going to be the library. We're about there.
On this side.
Library's on this side. Now you said that the framing starts here, which is actually the sloped steel we see is of the smaller lecture auditorium.
Lecture
and
hall.
How does it go from there once the framing starts? You're working your way around the courtyard?
Yeah, our erection sequence starts in this zone, Zone C, and then it basically moves all the way around to Zone B, Zone A in the front, and then we'll do Zone D, meet up with that structure. And then we'll double back and work on the 2-story structure, which is the gym, locker rooms, cafeteria. Yeah, lots happens behind the scenes. In other words, staging and rigging is a huge part of the operation, not just building. You can see we've had probably like 8 to 10 trailer loads of steel, and that's what Joe was referring to. The burned up area in the foreground is just a temporary construction to get over the foundation wall, so the crane and the trailers and the material lifts, the all-terrain lifts, can get around and move material. Right here, now that we're a little bit away from the steel being slung up, we're a little safer. You can see a really great shot. You can see how high 3 stories really is from this perspective. And you can also see what great progress we made on the footings and foundations. We're actually in week 13 of on-site construction inside the gate. So to be at this point where we're almost connecting up with the last stretches of exterior perimeter footing and foundation wall, we have a few more piers and things in there to do, but you know, this area is going to be the last area we work in. and there's not a lot of interior masonry partitions. They're mostly stud walls, so you know, the rest of the concrete in here will go a lot quicker than a lot of the areas in zones A, B, C, and D.
So we're actually standing right what would be almost outside of the gym. This will be the gymnasium right in here.
Right. And this is sort of a covered area, what you see here.
Yeah.
These piers will have columns, and this will be, you know, like a covered area outside the gym doors. That'll be, you know, right where you go to the football field.
Oh, okay.
Through the locker
Oh, yeah.
right up. This will be actually pretty close. This will be just a small road by the time we're doing the block.
So the structure that we see over here that we'll take a better look at, that's the permanent seating.
That's the permanent visitor side bleachers. And we can just take a quick walk over here.
Sure.
What you see here, the gravel, that's a perimeter drain that runs around the whole perimeter of the football field. It's a very similar thing to what we did up at the track, where below all that gravel is a 12-inch drain pipe, and all these tributaries are running off of it, and then those tributaries connect to a slot drain, which you'll see formed up on one side when we get over there. Really nice detail where all the water sheds off the synthetic turf and you know, into the drainage system. The perimeter of the field is pretty close to the field. It's really nice. It's kind of a good stadium feel to it. And you can see the home side's a little bigger. We'll have a press box right there in the middle. Everything's handicap accessible. You see the ramps on both sides for anyone who's disabled. There's also a chair lift that can get up to the press box in the top row. One of the things you don't realize when you see it at this level with prepping for the slab and everything's compacted and nice is how much actual underground utilities we have.
Yeah.
Anything that you see stubbed up are things that have already been laid underground and coordinated pretty closely. In the back corner there, in the area where that green man lift is the mechanical room and the electrical room. So coming out of there is a super highway of pipes and electrical conduit, and then it makes its way in the hallways and to the other end of the classroom. You can actually see, if you look at the distance, how many stub-ups there are in that area, at the end where all the labs and where the mechanical, the end of the mechanical room going into the marine tech and building tech. So that corner is pretty heavy with utilities and things that have been, you know, weeks in the making to get us to this point.
Yeah.
Not to mention behind the main part of the building where that white truck is a 20,000-gallon reclamation tank, which collects all the water from the roof and uses it to flush the toilets.
Oh wow.
And that was a pretty massive operation to get that down to the ground so far. It was a pretty big hole with sheeting that they drove in, and then you know, set that and then pulled the sheets and backfilled. So a lot of the stuff that you see covered up now was weeks and months of getting ready to get to this point.
Digging it.
Yeah. This is the southern road coming down through here. You can see we actually started to lay some reclaim as a base for the road. So this will be more of like a service access to the school. You'll come in here, the loading dock's back in this area where, you know, similar to the one we have now. It'll service the cafeteria and everything will come in through these bays. You can start to see site lighting here that are all been put in. Along here is our main electrical ducting, which is another thing that's been weeks in the making. It's going to come out at the corner of Ram's Way there, and one primary line will run down here and feed the school. The other primary line comes straight through the gates and hits the concession stand. The concession stand service will power up the stadium and the wastewater treatment plant, while this duct bank runs right down to the back side of the building and into the mechanical electrical room. So really great detail here, and we'll see it up at the track, actually fully completed. But this is that system that I told you about. This is a slot drain. In the slot, the water collects to the end, water goes down, and it's fed into those tributaries, and under here is that 12-inch, the larger pipe that I told you about. So water, you know, field drainage is going to be really nice. When we get down there, you'll see it all cast in the actual concrete, how nice it looks. And this will run in a rectangle around the whole edge of the football field. Up at the track, it actually follows the perimeter of the running track, and then we have the D zones. The zones cut off by the rectangular field, and that's where the long jump pits are, and some of the other more track related activities will happen. It's a rough construction, it's site construction, but it's really like perfectly, it has to be perfectly laid.
It's interesting because I was looking at this detail in the drawings, and I didn't understand exactly like how it.
Now, if you're at a football game, or you're at like a soccer game, or an event at the future football stadium, you get hungry, or you have to go to the bathroom.
Tony then took us to the concession stand from the football field. He was explaining the concession stand is where bathrooms and ticket purchasing and snacks would be sold for football games.
The black stuff is spray on waterproofing and put on the basement, so they put the veneer. Here we have a full-on masonry operation going. They're working on the soffit all the way around the building here.
Oh, yeah.
Once they get by, we'll sneak in and I'll show you some of the inside. Going in! So we're actually standing in the ticket booth area. So there'll be a kitchen behind you. To the right will be the ticket booth, right over here.
Oh, okay.
This will be the concession stand window.
Shower and changing rooms?
No, these are just all bathrooms.
These are all bad.
There'll be men's on one side, and over here will be a family unisex bathroom that will be accessible from outside. It's been long pretty quick. Our hope is to get this powered up permanently, you know, before snow flies.
Oh, really?
So we can have somewhere with electricity and heat.
Oh, yeah, on site. Yeah.
And then we can switch the wastewater treatment plant over to the permanent service. A lot of underground here. Replacing the lift station out here. This is a good example of some of the underground infrastructure. Earlier we put a grease trap in here, which is another pretty big operation. Here is the lift station. It's going to replace the one on the top of the hill here. We have a good amount of local companies. We have Perfection Fence here doing all the perimeter and ornamental fencing. We have Levangie Electrical, which is owned by a Marshfield resident. Obviously we have the brakes.
Yeah.
Here's the finished product of the drainage.
Oh, no, we're going to hold right there.
Here's a pad for the bleachers for this field. We need 2 bleachers here, 1, 2, and then storage. 2 storage sheds for all the track equipment. Got some goalposts up.
Joe Rossi with the Rossi Report, and I'm here with Bob Brate, one of the Brate brothers, of course, of Brate Building Construction Corporation. Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role here and about how you feel about the project so far?
Well, my role, I'm the project manager for the project, so I oversee, everyday operations, construction management, and all the subcontractors. Today, the progress is going very well. We've been lucky with the winter. We're on schedule. I feel we're going to continue through the winter that way. Just hope that we don't have a lot of frost or snow, and that's the best thing I can ask for right now.
So these have been 3 months that we've kind of shown the progress, which has been incredible. What do you feel, or what do you know is going to really happen within the next 3 months, and what can we expect for our next update?
Okay, next update, you're going to start seeing concrete decks getting poured, the slab on grade, so a lot of concrete getting poured. We're going to start doing the roof in January sometime, so we can get a nice dry building. And then we're going to start framing the exterior of the building. Masonry will start, where we have masonry backup walls. We're going to start within the next 6 weeks. We'll probably start tarping the building so we can heat it and work inside over the winter until the weather breaks. We're going to be completing as much as we can over on the football field. And there's not a lot more we can do out on the track or the football field. There's still a little bit more work we can do in the winter, but come the spring when the weather breaks, we're going to really hit these two areas hard to make sure that we get these turned over to the town next summer.
Awesome. I'm Joe Rossi for the Rossi Report. We've just taken you on a quarterly update of the Marshfield High School site. We'll be updating you quarterly throughout the project to show you the project from beginning to end, an inside view for Marshfield as we undertake the largest construction project in Marshfield's history. For the Rossi Report, I'm Joe Rossi.